Hello everyone and welcome to Best Side Cycling. I'm a daily cyclist here in Bellevue, and what if I told you that the city is considering putting bike lanes here on Bell Red Road? For those not familiar, this is a street that runs east-west through the whole city with 5 lanes. It passes across many neighborhoods, businesses that people often want to visit. We're going to dive really deep into this today with the interview with the project manager behind it. But what you need to know is that this is the project Bike Bellevue, really aimed at improving bicycle network improvements in downtown Wilburton and Bell Red. They are currently seeking public online feedback until mid-November on their proposed designs for 11 different corridors. So you'll get to see the exact types of bike lanes that they're thinking of, and you can put down all your thoughts. So without further ado, we're going to get into all these topics and more. So let's get over to Bellevue City Hall. Today we're at Bellevue City Hall and we have...
Hi everyone, my name's Franz Lowenhers. I'm the Mobility Planning and Solutions Manager at the City of Bellevue.
Awesome. So yeah, how long have you been working for the City of Bellevue and being involved with bike projects?
I've been with the City of Bellevue over 23 years, and my work at the City of Bellevue in active transportation, supporting people walking and biking, has really encompassed that entire time period. My earliest work was in supporting the development of our 2009 pedestrian and bicycle transportation plan, and then I've done a lot of work thereafter.
Okay. What are some, I don't know, just some examples of corridors or arterials that you've sort of seen transform over that time?
So Bellevue's work in supporting active transportation and bike mobility specifically really came to a fruition after the passage of the Neighborhood Safety, Connectivity, and Congestion Levy in 2016. Previous to that, a lot of our bike projects were being implemented in more of a ad hoc manner, availing ourselves of opportunities when we do pavement overlay, when you just are doing some striping and you can put some lane narrowing to incorporate a bike facility, a bike lane. With the passage of that levy in 2016, we were able to triple the amount of bike lanes that we put out on the street every year. So we went from about 3 miles annually to about 9 miles annually.
Wow, that's great to hear. So yeah, we can move into sort of what the meat of today is about, Bike Bellevue. So do you want to give a high-level introduction of what that is?
Bike Bellevue is the next step in bringing about a safe, connected, and comfortable bike network in our downtown Wilburton and Bell Red neighborhoods. And it really builds upon the past work that I've been doing at the city these past 23 years, from our 2009 pedestrian and bicycle plan, our 2015-16 bicycle rapid implementation program, our 2020 Vision Zero strategic plan, and our 2022 mobility implementation plan. All of these activities and the projects that came from those plans that were council approved really laid the foundation for the work that we're doing today. And in this last budget cycle, council in the capital investment program budget allocated $4.5 million for what is branded Bike Bellevue. And Bike Bellevue, this funding that was provided by council was for staff to work with the Transportation Commission and the community in figuring out how to implement rapid build bicycle infrastructure on street in this defined geography of downtown Wilburton and Bell Red. So what we've heard from the community over the years is that people are looking for safe travel options, and many people would like to ride bicycles, but they feel uncomfortable right now. The streets that are available really are geared towards moving vehicles rapidly, and those heavier volume, higher speed arterials are not very comfortable. And we actually measure this with a metric called level of traffic stress, which has 4 categories. And a LTS 4 category is really for people who are identified as strong and fearless, people who, regardless of what the on-street volume and speed of vehicles is, they're comfortable.
Right.
If you look at the Bike Bellevue corridors today,
Yep.
2/3 of those corridors are at that LTS4 category because
Yep.
of the volume and speed of vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
With the implementation of these 11 Bike Bellevue corridors,
Mm-hmm.
those LTS4 designations are completely eliminated.
Right.
And in fact, the 90% of those corridors achieve the targets that we have established in our mobility implementation plan for the level of comfort that should be offered on those corridors. So this is really a transformational opportunity to provide people with safe and comfortable travel options.
That's awesome. What would be the next step? Because I noticed a lot of the current designs are like sort of just like buffered bike lanes or maybe flex posts. How do we get to like LTS 1 on that scale in some of these corridors?
The implementation of bike facilities frequently is an iterative process. It takes a series of steps to ultimately achieve your ultimate LTS1 designation. And that was the case on 108th Avenue Northeast that we implemented initially as a demonstration to evaluate its impact on safety, livability, mobility. We had all of these metrics, and ultimately after that evaluative process, it was decided that it could be made permanent, and then it was upgraded further. What we're proposing in Bike Bellevue is to establish some rapid build to the maximum extent possible separated bike lanes. So this includes tough curb and delineator posts to provide that vertical element to separate from the adjacent motor vehicle travel lanes. That initial round of investment will help us to determine, have we dialed it in correctly? What is the broader ramifications? All of the work that we've done so far that's captured in our draft design concepts guide, it's 358 pages. It has a lot of detail. Looks at what are the impacts of this on other modes, motor vehicle travel time, etc. And what we want to do is, the modeling says that the implication should be negligible, less than 1 mile per hour travel time impact on corridors. That said, this is still nothing. The travel demand models give a good indication of what to expect, but not necessarily what will be realized. So by implementing these facilities in the manner in which we are with these rapid implementation tools, we have the opportunity to evaluate. And many communities, as they implement a connected network, end up going through these stages of development where that initial round of investment establishes the facilities that build the ridership among bike riders, makes people comfortable enough to start to consider it, and then with that allows for us to then slowly make those refinements to it along the way.
Got it. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Actually, when I read through it, I was pretty impressed by how wide, sort of like there's 11 corridors listed in there. I don't want to get into nitty-gritty of each one, but like generally, I don't know, like is there any prioritization at the end of the day in terms of like which areas will get the most focus?
Good question. So where we are in the process of Bike Bellevue is we released our draft design concepts guide, and included in that 358-page document are all of the design drawings of these draft concepts. And this was intentional. We want the community to feel involved. We've published this information not only in the guide, but also in this online dashboard that allows the public to go and view those and provide comments on what we are proposing, and then also to like or offer an alternative viewpoint to what other people are commenting upon. And so where we are in the process is we released this guide, we released this online tool. It's been live, this online tool, for 3 weeks. We have over 700 comments at this point. The tool will be live till November 17. We will review each and every suggestion offered, and we will share that with the Bellevue Transportation Commission. And then we will go through a refinement process on our designs. And it'll be informed by what we're seeing from the public. So we're really encouraging the public to engage at this time, provide us the input to influence the ultimate design.
Right.
The next stage of community engagement would be equity is very much a priority for our city council. It's one of the 8 principles guiding this body of work. So the next stage of engagement after this online tool is to work through focus groups and stakeholder interviews to engage with those harder to reach populations. Low income, people with limited English proficiency. We're going to have focus groups in Mandarin and Spanish. Right. And so the intent really is to ensure that all of Bellevue's diverse voices are heard and are part of this consultative process. After we go through that next round of engagement, the Transportation Commission, with additional input that they receive from the community, will formulate a recommendation to our transportation director by June of next year.
Right.
And so that's when our transportation director will make a decision. Within that recommendation will be both the design details that we've been talking about for each of the 11 quarters, as well as a prioritization of how to sequence these projects. So at that point, when it goes forward to the director, there will be a recommendation on prioritization.
I see. As these designs are going through, like, are we still always at the end gonna get bike lanes, or is that still like up in the air? It's like a very simple question when people look at these and they're just wondering, how this is actually ultimately gonna turn out.
So council made it clear through the funding that was provided to staff in the last budget cycle that they would like to see the gaps in our existing bike network filled. And so within this downtown Wilburton Bellred neighborhood area. And so that's our mandate as staff. And furthermore, that council directive included guidance to make sure that these facilities were, to the maximum extent possible, available to all ages and abilities. So for us as staff, we're following the guidance provided by council. This is a council directed project based on many years of past policy directives. So to that end, yes, at the conclusion of this process, it's not going to happen immediately because what is outlined in this guide exceeds the financial capacity provided. And so we are actively pursuing other grant opportunities to supplement the funding that we have. And so we do envision that this will come online at some point in the future.
Then, I guess like in the history of Bellevue, has there been a project like this that you've seen? Because I guess I don't know, just as a bystander, this seems like pretty big.
So this process of developing a network-wide implementation plan is unprecedented. We have done these larger scale visionary documents like the 2009 pedestrian bike plan, but those didn't have funding allocated for implementation. We have also had funding to implement conversion of motor vehicle travel lanes to bike lanes in the form of the 108th Demonstration Bikeway Project, which became permanent and upgraded. And we have implemented similar kinds of projects thereafter, but all of those were incremental quarter by quarter implementation efforts. And what we learned from that process is it doesn't ultimately yield the desired end state, which is a connected network. So this approach is really informed by past learnings and is intended to realize this connected network that really is going to be the difference between people choosing to ride a bicycle or not. Because right now, it's hard to get inspired to ride a bicycle when you have only one segment of a network
Yep.
in place, and then when you come to its end and you're
Yep.
presented with other less safe options, it's hard to want to engage in that way.
No, for sure. Best side cycling here. Please forgive all my awkward mannerisms, as that's my first ever interview, and I really enjoyed our conversation thus far. If you've been enjoying this video, make sure to roll that like button and subscribe. I'll get you some more updates. But with this, the next questions are basically wrapping things up in terms of how you can be giving feedback and his closing thoughts. In terms of some of the feedback that your team is looking for, what does that look like? What would be the most helpful?
Well, we're really grateful when the public chimes in, offers their input on Bike Bellevue, be it at a macro level or at a granular level. Where we are in the process, it's really helpful because we've provided the design details, both in our draft design concepts guide as well as on this online dashboard, is for the public to really visualize what these corridors would look like when Bike Bellevue is in place, and give us that real life experience as users of this system, how we can dial it in most effectively for improved safety, comfort, and connectivity. So we're getting great feedback right now from people who are active riders, bike riders, along these corridors who have that lived experience and can give us that reality check in terms of how we can best design these facilities so that it achieves the outcomes that that council has directed us to achieve. So it's really a collaboration with the community at this point.
Just as concluding thoughts, like really, why should people be excited about this project?
Bellevue is going through a remarkable transformation right now. If you look at the skyline, you see cranes, towers being implemented. There's a lot of energy in the air. Bellevue is an incredibly desirable place to locate one's family, one's business, and people really genuinely care about making Bellevue better. And people also care about each other in this community and want to see everyone arrive safe home each night. And it's that combination of that excitement and development and transformation that is exciting to be a part of, because as staff, we want to improve safety, sustainability, equity in our community. Those are outcomes that are provided to us by the City Council that inspire us, and Bike Bellevue is part of that story. It's part of realizing and supporting the growth and development that's occurring in this community, and providing people safe travel options.
So yeah, I think with that, thank you so much for your time. I know that was a lot of different questions, so I know, and I'm sure the audience will appreciate it a lot. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks.